In our number 10 spot, we have the giant centipede. Honestly, I think the title says it all. It is a giant centipede. Just saying, that makes me want to crawl under my covers and hide from the world. Let's be real. The idea that there's creepy centipedes out there in general makes me feel uncomfortable, let alone giant ones. No thanks. Hey, creator of the planet, could we just have done without this one? I don't know. Get back to me later. This new giant version was discovered near Japan and Taiwan in 2021 in the Ryukyu Islands. It was about 20 centimeters long and 2 centimeters thick. It apparently has a bit of an amphibious nature as it lives on land and in water. Yeah, I'm making no plans to ever go to that island. In our number 9 spot, we have the mountain Fer Delance. The mountain Fer Delance is the newest addition to the viper family discovered in the jungle mountains in Zongo Valley in Bolivia. Honestly, the fact that in 2020 we discovered another viper snake makes me wonder what kind of terrifying creature we will discover next. These snakes have excellent camouflage and are usually found lying around the forest floor, often in piles of leaves. They have these heat sensors that help them sense their prey. They are extremely venomous, as you can imagine, so you probably are best to stay clear of Zongo Valley, or all rainforests for that matter. Just joking, just be careful. In our number 8 spot, we have the pig snout Brittle Seastar. Okay, as creepy as this new discovery is, the pig snout Brittle Seastar has actually been hiding deep in the ocean at 200 feet for a long time as a living fossil from the Jurassic period. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. It was discovered in 2015 in a barrel, and it was collected also in 2011 in Bank Durand in the South Pacific. Why the name though? Well, it was given this name because of its 8 long arms that look like many pig snouts snapped together. Just gross. Its underside apparently is filled with bristly, thorny teeth. So basically, it's a bunch of pig-like arms with creepy teeth on one side. Excuse me as I may go puke at the thought of this. In our number 7 spot, we have Eriovixia gryffindori. A new spider has been discovered, and all of us that would rather spiders did not roam the earth are not happy about it. But the only somewhat pleasurable thing about this spider is the fact that it was given a name based off of Harry Potter. Why does this make me like it and want to accept it? I don't know. The Eriovixia gryffindori was given an HP sounding name due to the fact that it looks like the Sorting Hat from the movie, and the people who discovered it are extremely cool, obviously. The spider has a very weird shaped body that arises from a very wide base and ends to a bent peak. The body is covered with tiny yellow and white hairs. I bet Ron Weasley would not be too thrilled to hear how a new spider has been discovered. God, I love him. Best HP character by far. Never mind, I take that back. Hermione's better. In our number 6 spot, we have the Potomatrigon Rex. No, not a T-Rex or a dinosaur, even though it would be pretty awesome if we discovered a dinosaur existing. On second thought, if the Jurassic Park movies have taught us anything, it's never a good idea to bring back dinos. This new species is also known as the Great River Stingray, and it is a freshwater stingray. It was discovered recently in 2016 from the middle and upper Rio Tocantins in Brazil. It is a dark brownish blackish color and has small yellow spots on it. It is quite large and can weigh up to 44 pounds. It has gained the title of King of Freshwater in this Brazilian river and cannot be found anywhere else in the world. Pretty cool. In our number 5 spot, we have the Scolopendra cataracta. Yep, that's a mouthful of a name. This newly discovered centipede species was found in Thailand and Vietnam. Honestly, creator, I ask you again, why another one? Could you not make another version of a dog for us to discover, or a cat, or basically anything that doesn't have more than 4 legs? Apparently, this centipede was named cataracta because that is the name of the waterfall that it was found in. It's apparently 8 inches long and has 20 pairs of legs. Creepy. In our number 4 spot, we have the Phytol Drogon, named after the dragons from Game of Thrones. I'm not joking. This ant ant, yes, you heard me, ant, has some appropriate characteristics that would lead to it being given this name. Honestly, when I was a kid, I loved ants. I was constantly observing them because, well, I don't know why. I was weird, whatever. But anyways, adult me gets the creeps when I think of them. So the fact that there is an ant out there that has a strange resemblance to a dragon, nah, I'm out. Why is this real? This new ant species was discovered in Papua New Guinea. They have spiny barbs along their backs and shoulders that protect them against predators. Apparently they have muscles beneath the spiny barbs that are there to help the ants hold up their oversized heads. I honestly need this. My shoulders can barely hold up my head. Their heads are packed with muscles to help them lift heavy and large objects. I have no excuse because I just have a big head, so. In our number 3 spot, we have the Xenoturbella churro. Okay, we most likely don't have to be too concerned about this one, but it deserved an honorable mention for looking like a churro. Nom 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 nom. If you've never had a churro, it's a doughy pastry that is just delish. Would recommend. Anyways, of course this new species was given its name because it looks like a churro. It is a sea creature that was found in the eastern Pacific Ocean. It falls within a worm-like animal category, similar to a jellyfish, but it doesn't have tentacles and a few other jellyfish characteristics. It is a pinky purple color and apparently it is food for the mollusk. In our number 2 spot, we have the ringed Sicilian. Technically, this snake was discovered about 2 centuries ago, but only recently it was actually discovered that it has oral venomous glands, and so it basically feels like we're getting to know this creature for the very first time. We're getting newly acquainted, and forevermore we shall be way more cautious. This snake is black with rings around it, and honestly it looks like it's straight out of a futuristic post-apocalyptic world movie. When these snakes are born, fun fact, apparently they feast on their mother's outer layer of skin with 44 teeth. So basically they are vampire snakes. This is terrifying. Apparently then the mother takes a few days to regrow her outer layer of skin back. Nice. In our number 1 spot, we have the Gracilis radix. This is a new species of wild rodent that was discovered in a mountainous area in Indonesia. It's a rat. Its scientific name is the Sulawesi root rat. Yeah, gross. It is known to weigh up to about 40 grams, but like I said, it's a mountain rat, so it is found at an elevation of 1,600 meters. Apparently, it is one of 4 rats that have recently been discovered, and hopefully one of the last. Am I right? Who agrees? In our number 10 spot, we have the EnviroPigs. Scientists have recently created a new kind of pig. The pig that they created can absorb phosphorus in its body. Why is this important, you may ask? Well, scientists discovered that when pigs poo, I'm classy, really. When pigs poo, they release a large amount of phosphorus into Mother Earth, and that makes her extremely unhappy. And so it became important for scientists to figure out a way to reduce this. Well, they did, and the genetically engineered pig they created absorbs most of the phosphorus in its body. I believe that this creation may be the first step in creating a pig army that could be used to take over the world, as pigs have a lot in common with humans. A pig army is definitely terrifying, and I really hope that's not the result of this. Let's move on. In our number 8 spot, we have featherless chickens. This one is literally terrifying to look at, but also kind of terrifying if people are going to ingest this in the future. This is a new kind of chicken that scientists created that is featherless. It's fewer calories and higher protein. Sounds like every weightlifter's dream. But don't get too excited about this because apparently these kinds of chickens are more prone to health conditions and are more likely to have parasites. Lovely. Well, this might be the meat that kills the world then. I hope if they do end up mass producing these kinds of chickens that they put on the label featherless chicken. Then people will have an option if they want to take the risk or not. I'm sure they'll do their best to correct this issue before giving it to humans to eat. But then again, actually I take that back. I don't have that much faith in our food suppliers. People get ill all the time from meat and they just do a mass recall and that's it. Anyways, buyer beware. In our number 7 spot, we have the new sudden death mosquito. Honorable mention. Okay, so before you go hide under the covers, you know, something I want to do like all the time, just know that the name of these mosquitoes it's not as scary as it sounds. A mosquito was created to be essentially an anti-disease mosquito. As mosquitoes carrying malaria is a massive problem in African countries, scientists wanted to try to combat this issue and create a mosquito that would kill other mosquitoes, which eventually would extinguish the species in a few years. Of course, the major problem would be that it would completely disrupt the entire ecosystem that they are a part of. The mosquitoes help provide food for fish and birds and so many amphibians and insects, and also in indirect ways for some animals, so it really just wouldn't be good if they were wiped out. Even though honestly it would be nice to not be bitten alive every summer. They love my blood. In our number 6 spot, we have the spider silk goat. Okay, the idea of a spider goat existing is probably the most terrifying thing to imagine, and if such a thing did exist that had half spider features and half goat features, I would probably cry. However, in the case of this experiment, that isn't exactly what happened. A creature was created that looked like a goat and had so many regular qualities that would make it a goat, but the one difference is that it actually made spider silk protein in its milk, and it could be spun to make spider silk. This is potentially really great for us, as spider silk can produce such valuable things such as bandages that are superior and bulletproof armor. But yeah, if they ever create a goat with spider features, I think the world would be in extreme danger. At least our ability to stay sane would be at risk for sure. In our number 5 spot, we have the human pig. Ah, the human pig. Yeah, I bet some of you haven't heard of this one, and I mean, it doesn't exist anymore, but it did for 28 days before scientists shut down the experiment, so yeah. An experiment was done to create a human-animal hybrid by injecting human stem cells into a female pig. As I said, it was for 28 days, but that's 1/3 of a pig's pregnancy, so the fetus was sufficiently developed before it all got shut down. They were not ready or prepared to deal with the unpredictable outcome if the human animal went to term, and they just kept it alive enough to understand how the cells interact with each other. Can you imagine a pig with a human brain alive and roaming free in this world? No, I can't. That would definitely be so dangerous, especially if it had pig instincts. Some pigs eat their babies. Enough said. In our number 4 spot, we have the glowfish. Glowfish are not necessarily a danger to us human beings, but most likely a danger to themselves. Let me explain. The glowfish are fish that have been created as a result of gene splicing, and yes, they glow in the dark. Pretty awesome. However, not so much for them. Why? Well, if they're released into the wild, then they will be extremely vulnerable, as predators will be able to easily spot them because, well, they glow, and they will be gobbled up easily. Even though there are already fish out there that naturally glow, so they already have to deal with this problem, what is the point of creating a new fish that will also be gobbled up? I don't know. In our number 3 spot, we have Rupee. Rupee is a genetically engineered clone dog that is extremely cute. So cute. The world's first cloned beagle, to be exact. He's one of 5 beagles that were produced by a Korean scientist by the name of Byung-Chung Lee. He was cloned by using a viral transfection of fibroblast cells with a protein that allows him to glow red in the dark. Yes, like the devil, because they are demon dogs. Okay, fine. This cloned species doesn't seem to threaten the world, but it will threaten all of those out there that get bothered by fluorescent light. Okay, this was just a scientifically created species that I wanted to give an honorable mention to because they are so cute. But seriously though, this is a big step forward for scientists working to cure human diseases, as these dogs are the first modified genes cloned successfully. So really, this creation could be the beginning of curing the world instead of endangering it. In our number 2 spot, we have fast-growing salmon. Scientists at Aqua Bounty created a genetically modified salmon that grows extremely fast. This new kind of salmon has the same odor, color, texture, and flavor of standard salmon, but it is able to grow twice as fast because of a growth hormone that stays activated throughout the entire year. But some believe that this could be dangerous to eat, and as of yet we are unsure as to how safe it is. The FDA have not approved this kind of salmon just quite yet, so perhaps it's better to stay clear until the green light is given. Could be dangerous to the world. In our number 1 spot, we have the landmine detecting plant species. Yes, you heard me correctly. Scientists have genetically engineered a plant that can help us detect where landmines are in the world. You might not realize how big of a problem this is, but it is estimated that about 70 people die per day because of unknown landmines that were placed in different areas around the world during the previous wars. I actually know someone personally whose brother died because of a landmine explosion, which is pretty insane. So the fact that a group of scientists have created a plant that could help detect them is so awesome. When it's near nitrogen dioxide, an ingredient known in explosives, the plant turns red. That will show us where the landmines are so that they can be removed more safely or even just avoided. The landmines are a danger to the world, and this plant could actually be life-saving. So this spot might be the reverse of the title of this video, but this kick-ass new plant species needed an honorable mention.
Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have spiders. The Chernobyl exclusion zone is a place where, because of the strange nature of the environment and the radioactive material, things inside the zone are quite different than the surrounding areas, and this includes some really interesting animal mutations. I've talked about my hatred for spiders a lot on this channel, but to be honest, they keep doing kinda cool things, so I have to keep talking about them. Well, maybe this one is like less cool and more scary, but still, they deserved their spot. Spiders that are residing within the exclusion zone are of course radioactive, but it's not only the spiders that are now dangerous to touch, but it's also their webs. Spiders in Chernobyl are likely making radioactive webs, which is the stuff straight out of a comic book. These radioactive webs are also being woven in much different ways than they once were, which would suggest some sort of genetic mutation at play. Not only are the spiders now dangerous for non-radioactive animals to touch, but walking through their web is equally as dangerous to those who aren't thriving in the radiation. So not only do you have to watch out for regular old radioactive material, but now also the never-ending construction of radioactive webs. Great! In our number 9 spot today, we have the two-headed calf. Back in 2015, on a family farm in Florida, as a new little calf was born, those around her were in for quite a surprise. The calf, which was named Annabelle, was born with a mutation that has left her with 2 heads, 4 eyes, 2 mouths, 2 noses, and 2 ears. She was unfortunately too weak to stand up, which left her unable to suckle from her mother, but thankfully the family who owned the farm where she was born was devoted to doing all that they could for her. This meant that they would visit her regularly to feed her from a bottle. Unfortunately, however, there was little anyone, including veterinarians, could do to help this sweet little calf. The longest a two-headed calf has ever been recorded as living was just a short 40 days. It truly is quite a shocking mutation, and hopefully in the future scientists might be able to better figure out how to help so this doesn't happen, or potentially be able to extend the lifespan of calves born this way. In our number 8 spot today, we have barn swallows. After the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, it became clear that the effects weren't just seen in the ground, but also in the sky. The barn swallows in Chernobyl are one animal who have seen a change in their physical appearance that has lasted all the years since the nuclear meltdown. It is unclear why these birds have been affected greater than their land animal counterparts, or if these changes will ever reverse to their previous state, but here's what we are currently dealing with. The swallows appeared to have severely deformed beaks, disproportionate feathers, some had partial albinism, and they were seen to have much smaller brains. Of course, some of these issues are much worse than others, and I'm sure these changes have significantly affected their ways of life, but of course they continue to adapt as time goes on. It is sad that this human-made disaster has affected them in such a negative way, but the fact that they are still around really shows their adaptability and resilience. In our number 7 spot today, we have Donald the Duck. Alright, people are gonna have to get a little more creative with their baby animal names, because for this one we are talking about a duck named Donald. I mean, cute, but not very original for this super unique creature. Donald was was born, or hatched I should say, by a family in Louisiana in 2014. Apparently when born, Donald was perfectly healthy with the exception of having 2 extra legs. This little dude was a lot luckier than some of the other animals on this list today, and it is said to have even been able to survive into adulthood, which is a nice change from some of the others we've discussed. Donald was treated by veterinarians at Louisiana State University who were said to have tried to bandage and brace one of his good legs in order to help him walk, but unfortunately this didn't end up working out too well. Sadly, although Donald lived a lot longer than some of these other creatures, his genetic mutation still didn't put him in the best position, and he passed away shortly after this treatment. In our number 6 spot today we have the Chernobyl cows. This is another animal mutation that comes from the radioactive environment seen within the Chernobyl exclusion zone. The area around Chernobyl was known for its agriculture before the disaster, so of course that means that there were definitely a lot of cows that could be found. Different from cats and dogs in the area, since farm animals are not only expensive but also can be used as a source of income, many people took their farm animals with them as they were evacuating, but many of these animals had already been exposed to the radiation in some capacity, and while it didn't affect them right away, the newer generations saw much more of the effects. In 1989, many farmers began reporting birth defects in their animals, some being much more severe than others. As time went on, the cows became less mutated, but that doesn't mean that the effects went away. As the cows continued to graze on feed that was contaminated, the effects became more internal. This has led to completely normal looking cows near the exclusion zone beginning to produce milk that is toxic and not fit for consumption. This is just such another clear example of how even though the visible effects may have worn off, there are still lasting effects that we probably hadn't even previously considered. In our number 5 spot today we have Baby Shark. Sorry for getting that song stuck in your head, all I gotta do is say it. So apparently shark fetuses with 2 heads are becoming more common around the world. Who would have thought? According to experts, the mutation that leads to this trait is known as axial bifurcation, and it's seen not just in sharks but other animals as well, including humans. The question though is why it is starting to happen more and more often. Sadly, this mutation has quite a negative impact on the sharks, as it is unlikely that the sharks with this mutation will even live to see their own birth. For those who do survive until birth, it is highly unlikely that they will survive long in the wild. Right now, scientists are working hard to figure out what is causing this mutation specifically in sharks. The leading theories include overfishing, which is leading to a smaller gene pool and thus a higher susceptibility to genetic mutations, or even potentially things like metabolic disorders, pollution, or viral infections. In our number 4 spot today we have Medusa. Medusa is a 2-headed snake who apparently comes with a steep price of $50,000. According to her owner, he was willing to pay that kind of price because he wanted her since the day she was born. The guy's really passionate about this snake, and the reason why, according to him, is that, quote, "The snake is perfect. Some other 2-headed snakes are beautiful, but they have a kink where their heads become one. Medusa doesn't. It's as if she was meant to have 2 heads." I mean, it's a pretty nice thing to say about your snake. Medusa and her 2 heads is a result of identical twins. These twins split from 1 embryo to become 2, but in Medusa's case, these twin embryos fused after splitting, which resulted in her very pricey but very unique appearance. In our number 3 spot today we have Billy the goat. Just so we're clear, baby goats are called kids. I feel like that's important to clear up before we really dive into this one, and that is because on a farm in northeastern Croatia, one little baby goat or kid was born with some sort of a mutation that left him with 8 legs. This was obviously shocking, as of course it was expected to have just 4, but in addition to having twice the amount of legs, this little guy also had both male and female reproductive organs. These unique traits are said to have been a result of this goat sort of absorbing the remnants of an underdeveloped twin sibling. This is actually a thing not just seen in goats, but in other animal species as well. Unfortunately though, this can, and in this case did, prove to be fatal. This little guy, who was nicknamed Billy the Squid, likely didn't survive for longer than a week. In our number 2 spot today we have Froggy. Okay, we've got some 2-headed animals on this list, but this one is taking the record because for this point we have a 3-headed frog. Found in the waters of a seaside resort in Somerset, England, this unique creature named Froggy is said to have escaped captivity. Clearly, he's using all 3 of his heads, clever little guy. Not only does Froggy have 3 heads, but he also has 6 legs, and the culprit behind this unusual scenario is said to be either just a birth defect or potentially a result of water pollution. Froggy was truly baffling to scientists, with one Tim Halliday even saying, quote, "I've never heard of a frog like this before. People have been reporting mutant frogs for 200 years, but to find one with 3 heads and 6 legs is very rare. Seems as though Froggy really is 1 in a million." In our number 1 spot today we have tuskless elephants. So you know how there are those terrible people who hunt huge, gorgeous animals for no reason at all other than to steal their ivory tusks in order to make a profit? Well, those people may have just caused a genetic mutation in elephants that might just end up kind of protecting these extraordinary creatures. More than 20,000 African elephants are killed every year just for their tusks alone, leaving their bodies behind. Decades and decades of illegal poaching of these animals and the constant killing of tusked animals means that, from an evolutionary standpoint, not having tusks is certainly more advantageous. Elephants without tusks is a hereditary trait that is caused by 2-tooth genes. Tuskless elephants are more likely to survive because they aren't being hunted as often, which means that this trait is being passed down more often. In fact, it is thought that the number of female African savanna elephants without tusks rose from 15% to 51%. I also only mentioned females because apparently in males, the tuskless gene is lethal. Scientists predict that this change is so significant, even as poaching eases, this is likely a change that will still be seen for generations, which could have an absolutely devastating impact on the future of elephants.